A neuron is defined as the structural and functional unit of the nervous system. It is otherwise called the nerve cell. The neuron is like any other cell in the body, having nucleus and all the organelles in the cytoplasm. However, it is different from other cells by two ways. Number one is that a neuron has branches or processes called axon and dendrites. And number two is that neuron does not have centrosome, so it cannot undergo cell division. Neurons in the mammalian central nervous system comes in many different shapes and sizes. The cell body, which is known as the soma, contains the nucleus and is the metabolic center of the neuron. Neurons have several processes called dendrites that extend outward from the cell body and arborize extensively. Particularly in the cerebral and the cerebellar cortex, the dendrites have small knobby projections called dendritic spine. A typical neuron also has a long fibrous axon that originates from a somewhat thickened area of the cell body, which is known as the axon hillock. The first portion of the axon is called the initial segment. The axon divides into presynaptic terminals, each ending in a number of synaptic knobs, which are also called terminal buttons or buttons. They contain granules or vesicles in which the synaptic transmitters secreted by the nerves are stored. Now, based on the number of processes that emanate from the cell body, neurons can be classified as unipolar, bipolar, and multipolar neurons. Unipolar neurons have one process with different segments serving as receptive surfaces and releasing terminals. Bipolar neurons have two specialized processes: a dendrite that carries information to the cell and an axon that transmits information from the cell. Some sensory neurons are in a subclass of bipolar cells called pseudo-unipolar cells. As the cell develops, a single process splits into two, both of which functions as axons, one going to the skin or muscle and another to the spinal cord. Now, multipolar cells have one axon and many dendrites. Examples include motor neurons, the hippocampal pyramidal cells with dendrites in the apex and base, and the cerebellar Purkinje cells with an extensive dendritic tree in a single plane. The axons of many neurons are myelinated. They acquire a sheet of myelin, which is a protein lipid complex that is wrapped around the axon. In the peripheral nervous system, myelin forms when a squamous cell wraps its membrane around an axon up to 100 times. The myelin sheet envelopes the axon except at its ending and at the nodes of Ranvier, which is a periodic 1 micrometer constriction that are about 1 millimeter apart. Not all neurons are myelinated. Some are unmyelinated, that is, simply surrounded by squamous cells without the wrapping of the squamous cell membrane that produces myelin around the axon.